Go out to Alex Pavlovic, NBC Sports Bay Area Giants insider. Alex, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're good.
Little down, Alex.
Been better?
Let me. There's so many tentacles to this. Let me just start at the beginning. Like, do we have absolute confirmation that the Giants ever met with Aaron Judge face to face?
Yeah, you don't read my stories?
No, I did, but the issue is that this video was even in San Francisco at the time.
Oh yeah, that video was at the St. Regis. That was he was in San Francisco. They met with him for 2 days. He met with a lot of people in the organization. So yeah, no, it 100%. He 100% was there.
Okay, because I had some confusion on it because somebody had said,
well, New York saying that, all the media guys are saying that was staged, Alex.
Yeah,
it was staged as far as it was planned, like that he would be in a video, not by the Giants, obviously, but I think by Judge's side. But it was not, it wasn't a sound stage somewhere. Like it was actually the St. Regis.
Fair enough.
So, yeah.
All right, good. Well, that good. We clarified that for me at least. Why do you think Aaron Judge chose to stay in New York?
Well, I've said all along, I've made this comparison. If Buster Posey had become a free agent and the Atlanta Braves tried to get him to come home and he stayed in San Francisco, we wouldn't really blink an eye, right? Like it's the same thing over there. I mean, he is their next version of Jeter. He is their current version of what Buster Posey is, and I think the fear with the Giants all along was that, no matter what we do, is he just going to want to be a Yankee for the rest of his career? And we can say what we want out here and hype up the Giants as much as you want, or San Francisco as much as you want. But there's something different about being a New York Yankee. Like it is the most storied franchise in the sport, and he's going to get the most attention in New York. And I think he saw that last year. And he, the one thing nobody knew this entire time, even people who were involved with it, was what does he ultimately want? And I think we found out over the last 24 hours, 12 hours, whatever it's been, that ultimately it was important to him to be a New York Yankee. And when they met his price, he went back.
Pavs, when I hear the name Farhan, I think of conservative. He has his own style, the farm, the system. What do you think led him to be a player or take a flyer and try to land this big fish? Because Stoney and I were talking like this doesn't seem Farhan's style to go after the big boy.
It's not necessarily, but you have to at some point. I mean, he's talked a lot about how like no one player is gonna make a team a winner, but he also has talked about just how important guys like that can be to an organization. I think I'll again go back to Posey. I mean, I think one thing Farhan has learned, and he has shared this with us over the last couple of years, was how important Posey was to that whole franchise. And they learned that the year he opted out. They learned that last year when he wasn't there. They learned it in 21 when he returned. So I think they have an understanding of what somebody like that can mean. And, I know he hasn't spent a whole lot, but they genuinely wanted Bryce Harper. They went hard after that one. And they genuinely wanted Aaron Judge as well. And I think Farhan did. And he understood what it would mean to the lineup, to the organization. And then, you go beyond that. Ultimately, somebody else has to write that check. And it's not hard for ownership to look around and see how many fans are there and see the interest and the comparisons to the Warriors and the Niners and see that, maybe we go out of our comfort zone. So I think they were all on the same page in terms of this one, and just didn't work out.
Alex Pavlovic joining us on 95.7 The Game, talking San Francisco Giants. I guess it's a kind of a simplistic argument, but I understand it. What about if you're a Giants fan and you say, well, they gave 9 years for $360. Why didn't you just say $400 for 9 years? See,
I mean, it is. I mean, you can do that with anything. I guess I would tell Giants fans, like, there's a point in your life where you have to make the same decisions, right? Like, there's a point where you're trying to bid on a house, or you're trying to decide what washer and dryer to buy, or maybe you play fantasy football and you have fab money every week. Like, there's a point where you're always trying to make a decision, and there's a point where you just look at it and go, well, no, that's unreasonable. and that's just not a good decision. And I will say, like, as much as he was perfect for them, and as much as I think, even 360 would have been fine, because I think it'll be meaningful off the field as well. Like, you are talking about a 31-year-old who's 6'7" and 280 pounds, and it's very unprecedented in the history of the game for somebody like that to age well. So there's going to be a point of this contract where it hurts. And if you're the Yankees, it doesn't matter, because it's that important to you. And I think if you were the Giants, it ultimately wouldn't have mattered. But, there is a point where you just go, we can't give a guy $45-50 million a year. Or we can't. I mean, in theory you could, but it's a business. Like, and that money at some point will take away from somebody else. Because at some point, if you're paying somebody $40 million and he's on the injured list, or, look what happened when Albert Pujols signed in Anaheim. Like, at some point, you're not getting other guys because you have this guy on your payroll. And I know fans disagree at times, but there is a budget for everything.
Pavs, I got to be honest with you. I was telling Steiny there's no way in hell he's leaving New York. He's the MVP, a Yankee, to come to the Giants. But the Heyman tweet, the articles about him being homegrown and, Giants being his team, I went to bed like this could happen. Can you share with us how close you got to that? And then also, how devastating do you think this is, if at all, to the organization that they didn't get him?
It's a gut punch for him. I've talked to some Giants people today. It hurts. I think they know it'll hurt for a couple of days. They're very disappointed. They move on from a business perspective. And look, from the beginning, and this is the way I've reported it from the beginning, like, they wanted him. They were going to go hard. They also fully expected he would go back to New York. But if Aaron Judge says he is thinking about coming to San Francisco, you roll out the red carpet. And you do everything you can to possibly make that happen. And if it doesn't happen, they genuinely feel like they put their best foot forward. They put a good offer out there. It is a record offer that they made. And they feel good about the visit and all of that. And I think, through yesterday, they were optimistic, and then a bunch of them woke up to alerts this morning that he was going back to New York. So it is just for me personally. I mean, I think the last couple of days, just from what I was hearing and people I was talking to, I got much closer to 50-50. Right. But throughout, I've kind of put it at 60-40, 70-30 at certain points, just because it made all the sense in the world for him to go back. But, if they were, and what you mentioned, the article and all that, like, I will just say his agent, who is not a big-time agent, could not have played this better. And at every step of the way, between that video and the SI article coming out on yesterday of all days, like, they put every ounce of pressure on Hal Steinbrenner to go from $213 million to $360, and he did.
Yeah, he's not a big-time agent yet.
Wow, yeah.
He may be pretty soon. Hey, Alex, thank you so much. Appreciate it, man, and way to be on top of this, and appreciate your time.
All right, guys, have a good one.